A group of fishermen was trying to catch fishes in Amazon River. They went deep inside the forest area, which was not advised by their elders. Suddenly, they saw a beautiful woman bathing in the river in a distance. As they approached her, she was nowhere to be found, as if she disappeared into thin air. One of them said it was not a woman, indeed it was Lara, an evil entity of the Amazon. Lara is a mermaid from Brazilian stories. People also call her the mother of water places. Lara is part woman and part fish, and she comes from the tales of the Amazon Indians. Even though she was pretty and nice, there was a big danger hidden in her beauty. She wasn't always a mermaid. Before that, she was a beautiful Indian warrior. Her father, who was the leader of her tribe, praised her a lot for being a strong warrior and for her lovely singing. Her brothers were jealous of her and wanted to hurt her. They tried to surprise attack her, but she was really good at fighting and defeated them. She couldn't go back to her tribe because she had killed her brothers, and she was scared to face her father. Lara wandered through the forests, but her father ordered the tribe to find her. They did, and as punishment, they threw her into the Black River. She drowned, but a water goddess saved her and gave her special powers. She turned into a beautiful mermaid and spent her time singing in the water. In the late afternoons, her singing could be heard from far away. Fishermen and sailors were enchanted by her music. They were drawn to her, and she would bring them underwater, where they drowned. The ones who escaped this dangerous meeting went crazy. Only special rituals by the tribe's priests could help them. Some Indians who lived by the river were scared of Lara's singing and didn't go near the water in the late afternoon. But Lara could also become a woman on land and attract men to the riverbank. They would then become easy prey because it's really hard to resist Lara's beauty and charm. In the heart of the lush Peruvian jungle, a mystical entity known as the Chulachaki roams, a peculiar being with two contrasting feet. His name is derived from the Quechua language, combining chula for dissimilar and chaca for feet. This enigmatic creature possesses a formidable power to shape-shift into anyone he desires, tricking both unsuspecting visitors and locals alike. His favored tactic is to masquerade as a cherished friend, family member, or even a playful companion, leading his unwitting victims astray and deeper into the unfathomable wilderness, leaving them disoriented and lost. Notably, children are not immune to the Chulachaki's deception, as he often takes the guise of an innocent playmate to lure them into his sinister game. Beneath his deceitful appearance lies a malevolent intent, enthralling and leading the children into the depths of the jungle, leaving them in fear and confusion. Unraveling his true identity becomes possible by examining his feet, one of which is deformed, making him go to great lengths to hide this distinctive feature. If exposed, the Chulachaki will swiftly retreat into the impenetrable jungle, evading capture. A legendary figure among the people of the Peruvian jungle, the Chulachaki commands respect as a guardian spirit of the forest. His elusive nature intrigues and terrifies both locals and visitors. Appearing along solitary paths, he can manifest in varying moods, sometimes amicable, offering jungle gifts, and other times hostile. Some speak of him as a childlike entity with a penchant for playful abduction, while others fear his sinister intent to devour innocent souls. Over the years, countless individuals have shared their eerie encounters with the Chulachaki. They recount being innocently pursued by a familiar face, only to realize too late that they've been led into a labyrinth of tangled foliage. Witnesses who have glimpsed his authentic form describe a peculiar sight. Adorned with a large hat, he reveals a heavily wrinkled face, a prominent and elongated nose, pointed ears, and haunting red eyes. Standing just above 3 feet or 1 meter in height, he wears tattered, filthy garments, moving with an uneven gait, and leaving peculiar footprints behind. The most astounding aspect of his appearance, however, remains his mismatched feet, one human and the other resembling that of a deer, a turtle, or a rooster. Whatever the interpretation, the legend of the Chulachaki remains an enduring and enthralling narrative, captivating the imaginations of those who hear it whispered through the emerald canopy of the Amazon. And so, here unfolds just one of the many captivating myths surrounding the enigmatic Chulachaki. A tale that continues to weave its way through the rich tapestry of the Amazonian folklore. In a distant rural area lived Calixto, a fearless young man, who earned a living by selling his agricultural produce in town every weekend. He would stay with his uncle during these trips. One fateful weekend, he returned home early on what he called Sunday the 7th. Despite his uncle's warning of it being a bad day, Calixto paid no heed. As dusk approached, he heard the alluring whistles of partridges on the edge of his farm. Unable to resist the temptation, he grabbed his shotgun and went hunting. Approaching the spot where he had heard the partridges, Calixto saw a branch move. Certain that the birds were sitting there, he aimed his shotgun carefully and fired. One bird fell to the ground. But as he approached to claim his prize, a strange and terrifying creature emerged, preventing him from advancing. This exotic being was like nothing he had ever seen before, dwarf, paunchy, black, with protruding teeth, and covered in hair like a bear. Its long mane cascaded to the ground, and it wore leaves as a makeshift dress. Truly, it was a sight to behold, but also horrifying. The creature lunged at Calixto, trying to bite him, and a fierce fight ensued. Calixto managed to land a decisive blow, momentarily gaining an advantage and freeing himself from the creature's grasp. Swiftly, he retrieved his shotgun and shot the strange being in the belly. The dwarf fell to the ground, his guts spilling out, and he struggled to put them back in place. Calixto, filled with shock and horror, dropped his shotgun and abandoned the partridge, fleeing towards his home to seek help. He arrived at his house in a frantic state, foaming at the mouth. As he climbed 2 steps, exhaustion overcame him, and he collapsed unconscious on the floor. The events of that day would forever be etched in his memory. Yakuruna is one of the mythological gods that dwells in the deep waters of the Amazon. The Yakuruna has the ability to transform himself into a beautiful man by changing his form. He has the ability to seduce young innocent native girls by deceiving them. Once they fall under his spell, he will bring them to his house in the deep waters, where they will be transformed into underwater creatures like Yakuruna, and will never be seen by the outside world again. According to the Iquitos legends, Yakuruna resembles the Greek mythology god Poseidon. Yakuruna's natural subjects are fish and aquatic reptile. He rides in the Amazon rainforest at night on a huge black crocodile with a boa for a necklace. According to the local inhabitants of Iquitos, during the day, he sleeps in the deep waters and never closes his eyes. The Yakuruna, a mythical figure from the Iquitos region, is said to possess the ability to communicate with aquatic creatures, and use his power to control them. Additionally, it is said that he is capable of transforming into a pink dolphin, which is believed to be attracted to the scent of menstrual blood. Once his intended victim is located, he is able to transform himself from a dolphin into the figure of a handsome stranger, and, once in human form, he can hypnotize and seduce the woman. Under his spell, the woman is taken by the sorcerer and transported to his realm, which is said to be located in the depths of rivers and lakes. Rosita was an 18-year-old native girl living in a house close to the Amazon River. She used to go down to the river every day to get some water to bring home to her family. One night at sunset, she decided to take a break from her usual routine and stand on the riverbank, watching the river flow as the sun went down. She was mesmerized by the movement of the water, so much so that she decided to undress, take off her clothes, and dive into the water for a refreshing dip. The constant flow of water around her was so hypnotic that she didn't even notice another set of eyes staring at her from the bank. At some point, Rosita became aware of someone watching her, and she shuddered. A young man was smiling and staring at her naked body on the muddy bank. She became perplexed when she noticed that he was not looking away, but was still looking her in the eyes, as if they had known one another for a long time. Out of nowhere, she rose from the water, revealing her nakedness, and began to walk towards him. Her steps were small and steady, and she was drawn to the man whose attraction she could not resist, and whose magnetism made her fall into his arms and kiss him. She asked him who he was and where he was from, and he told her that he was a fisherman, and that he wanted to be with her always. She responded that she was beautiful, and that they would spend the night together, making love under the stars and in the dark night. At some point, the father confronted the girl about her whereabouts during the night. Despite her being a simple and timid girl, she bravely told her father that she was in love with him and wanted to marry him. The father, who had never seen his daughter in such a state of emotion, agreed to meet and speak with him. The following evening, the young fisherman arrived at Rosita's home, and asked for her father's permission to marry her. The father, knowing that his daughter was fond of the mysterious fisherman, agreed to let him sleep with her in their hut. For some time, the young fisherman had been sleeping with Rosita nightly, but he would mysteriously leave before dawn and return after dark. However, one morning, the young fisherman did not leave before dawn as he had always done, and he would stay in her bed until the next morning. On this particular morning, Rosita awoke to a strange wet sensation at her side, and when she opened her eyes, she was in shock and exclaimed aloud. Her father heard her cry and ran into the room with a shotgun to save his daughter. The pink river dolphin was in Rosita's bed, trying desperately to escape, but it couldn't. It fell to the floor far from the water, unable to swim. The father reached for the shotgun and shot it in the head, killing the pink dolphin. The young fisherman never returned that day, and Rosita never saw him again. She was heartbroken because her lover had deserted her. She soon found out that he had impregnated her, and that she was soon to give birth to the mysterious fisherman's baby. The midwife tried her best to save Rosita's life, but she passed away during childbirth. The baby survived, and to the amazement of everyone, it turned out to be a baby dolphin. It appears that the mysterious fisherman was in fact a pink dolphin, not a human, but a Bufio colorado. The pink dolphin had the ability to turn into a man at night and seduced Rosita. Believe it or not, there's actually a curupira in Brazil. It's a little guy with red hair and a wild look, and he's got his feet turned back. That's one of the most unique things about him. He can make a fool out of anyone who tries to track him down. He can leave tracks on the floor of the forest, but when his feet turn back, they make it look like he's coming, which makes it harder for hunters and other intruders to figure out where he is. Plus, his rooey hair makes him really scary, and his whistles can make you dizzy, slow, and have a headache. It's a great way to get lost and not be able to find your way back home. Curupira's main job is to keep the Amazon rainforest and its wildlife safe. It's believed that Curupira is the guardian of the rainforest, keeping an eye on all the animals, plants and trees to ensure that humans respect the balance of nature. While Curupira may lead people astray, it's not malicious. It punishes those who cause harm to the rainforest or its inhabitants. Curupira is known to make loud noises or make terrible sounds to scare off hunters or illegal timber cuttings. It can also cause confusion or disorientation to draw people away from vulnerable areas. The stories of Curupira have been passed down through generations in Brazilian folklore. They serve as cautionary tales for those who enter the rainforest with bad intentions and emphasize the importance of harmony with nature. As with many folklore stories, the existence of this creature is based more on belief and cultural heritage than on scientific evidence. Curupira continues to be a fascination and inspiration for many people, especially those who work to protect and conserve the Amazon rainforest. Once upon a time, in a secluded village deep in the Amazon rainforests, the villagers lived among nature. They revere the forest and its people, and they understand the importance of preserving a healthy ecosystem. A group of hunters from the neighboring village came to the village looking for new game. These hunters were ruthless and greedy. They took more than they needed and left destruction behind. The animals of the forest were scared, and the villagers' way of life was in danger. That's when the strange Curupira showed up, with fiery red hair and sharp green eyes. This strange creature was a sight the villagers had never seen before. The Curupira would sneak into the hunters' camp at night. It would use a variety of tricks to frighten them, leading them to believe that the forest was being haunted by evil spirits. The hunters fled in terror, never to return. The Curupira is said to have appeared to the villagers in their dreams after driving off the intruders. The Curupira warned them of the consequences of consuming more than was necessary from the forest, prompting the villagers to return to their traditional methods of living sustainably. The Curupira has since become a symbol of protection for the Amazonian rainforest, as well as a reminder of the importance of living in harmony with the natural environment. The villagers often left offerings at the perimeter of the forest in order to demonstrate their gratitude for the forest's continued protection. This legend has remained a part of Brazilian folklore to this day, as it serves as an allegory for the importance of conserving nature and maintaining the balance of ecosystems such as the Amazon. The mysterious Curupira is believed to still exist, and those who come into contact with it must treat it with respect and care.